Hello, Black Swan negotiators. We're talking about mastery of negotiation skills today. And mastery of negotiation skills comes from, boringly enough, mastery of some of the basics. One of the skills that seems basic from the list of the FBI 8 negotiation skills, there they call it minimal encouragers. The Black Swan Group, we call them encouragers. Encouragers are one of those subtle, seemingly basic skills that pay great dividends. They're the little sounds that we make when we're listening to somebody. Yeah, okay, go on. They're very encouraging. The people we're talking with love to be encouraged. That's why we want to use encouragers. They want to know that we're there and we're listening and that we're attentive. Now, of our three types, assertives, analysts, and accommodators, our assertives and our analysts aren't really naturally at encouraging the other to talk. They either want to talk themselves or they want to think. Our accommodators tend to be very good at encouragers because they love to encourage people. Encouragers are essential, especially when we're talking on the phone, but even when we're in person. You want to keep the other person talking. After all, remember, negotiation has often been described as the art of letting the other person have your way. You get them to talk themselves into the deal, and this is one of the ways that you do that. I'll talk a little bit about physical encouragers for when they can see us, whether we're in person with them or whether we happen to be on some sort of video call where they can see us. Principal among those is the head nod. This is fantastic. People love when you nod your head when you're listening to them. It's incredibly encouraging. And I do this for a number of reasons when people can see me. Number one, they love it. Number two, as crazy as it sounds, it'll help you stay awake. Sometimes I do the head nod when I'm having trouble staying awake. I start nodding my head just to keep myself awake. I found as a side benefit, I actually listen a lot better, and the speaker has a tendency to dial into me specifically and feel really good about the fact that it's me that's listening to them. Here's a crazy story. A number of years ago, I was in Beirut with some students when I was going to the Kennedy School of Government and was working on my Master's of Public Administration. We met with the heads of all the political parties while we were there. We were sitting in a meeting with one of the heads of the parties, and because his English wasn't great and his accent was so thick, I couldn't understand almost anything that he said. On top of that, it was a hot day and I was having trouble staying awake. It was in the middle of the afternoon. So while I'm sitting there, I just start nodding my head to everything he says, even though I really can't understand anything he's saying. I'm just nodding away because I was too embarrassed to fall asleep in front of this guy. And as we're all filing out and shaking hands on the way out, he goes out of his way to come up to me and shake my hand and look at me and say, hey, next time you're in Beirut, please make sure you stop by. I absolutely love talking with you. This was all a result of my head nods. Believe me, the listener loves it when you nod yes. Remember, mastery of a skill comes from mastery of the basics.